And so it was with me. Okay, Paul's going to say, you know, he came from probably a fairly wealthy family. He was very well educated. He was a rabbi, possibly a member of the Sanhedrin. He says, I excelled in my religion, being a Pharisee, above others. But he counted all that as rubbish. That doesn't mean anything. And so it was with me, brothers and sisters. When I came to you, I did not come with eloquence. I didn't come with fancy speech or human wisdom. As I proclaimed to you the testimony about God. For I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. That's my focus. Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And again, if I'm teaching people how to preach, what's the focus of their message? Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And I've had students say, well, what if I'm preaching from 1 Chronicles? Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And if that isn't the heart and core of your message, it's not about Jesus, then it's not a sermon. It's not what you should be preaching. I came to you in weakness. Is that a physical condition, or what does he mean? We don't know. But if you go back in Acts and you trace Paul up to this point where he came to Corinth, he was pretty discouraged. Everywhere he went, he'd had some success, but he got kicked out of town. He'd had to run for his life. And then he went to Athens, and nobody much listened to him in Athens at all. So by the time he got to Corinth, he was not feeling real good. And so he came with weakness. And yet, God used that weakness to build one of the biggest churches in all of Asia. I came to you in weakness with great fear, great dread, and trembling. Does that sound like a man who's self-reliant? Sounds like a man who's been beaten down. And he says, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep preaching. Whew, man, it's not been good so far. My message and my preaching were not with wise and persuasive words, not with Sophia and wise logos. Not with Sophia and logos words, but with a demonstration, an evidence, a proof of the Spirit's power. Okay, now if you notice how he's transitioned here. Sophia, 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 Sophia of God. Where's the true power? The Spirit. The Spirit. A demonstration of the Spirit's power. Was it my power, Paul? No, the Spirit's power. I came weak. I came trembling. I'll tell you, honestly, I was discouraged. And when I spoke, you listened and received the gospel. And I was as shocked as anyone. But it was the power of the Spirit that was at work. So that your faith might not rest on human wisdom, but on God's power. I didn't win you over by great philosophical arguments. It was the Spirit. I always, in studying for my preaching class, I went through a lot of Billy Graham's materials and interviews. And one of the things that impressed me was one of his interviewers said, well, Dr. Graham, you're generally considered, to be one of the greatest preachers in American history. How do you feel about that? And Billy Graham said, well, I feel that's wrong. Really, I'm barely an average preacher. I said, well, I'm shocked. How do you explain the success? He said, well, God's given me a gift that when I call and ask people to accept Jesus, they do. That's a gift from God. He said, I'm just an average preacher, and the fact that they do respond shocks me. He said, basically it must be the power of God, because it's not me. And that's the way Paul felt. I went there. I can tell you, I didn't give the best sermons I'd ever given. And yet you folks responded. That's got to be the power of God at work there. And now you're going after wisdom when you in your wretched states were won over by not wisdom, and not by eloquence, and not by Greco-Roman rhetoric and philosophy, but by God's power in your life. That's what did it. So that your faith might not rest on human wisdom, but on God's power. Now, how do we get God's wisdom? Take a wild guess. How do you think Paul is going to say you receive God's wisdom? What's our key word? Spirit. Through the Spirit. We do, however, here's the contrast. We do, however, speak a message of wisdom. Oh, I just thought you said wisdom was bad. No, I said worldly wisdom. But we do speak a message of wisdom, quote unquote, Sophia, among the mature. I believe the Greek word there is teleoi, which we get telescope. That is to make things that are far away near. Among the mature, the ones who have reached out, the ones that have reached their end, or the end result, which is what telos means. Among the mature, but not the wisdom of this, what's the word? Ion. Eon or ion, yeah. Not the wisdom of this ion, or of the rulers of this ion, who are coming to nothing. No! He screams that. It's very emphatic in the Greek. In fact, sometimes that word is translated, God forbid. But here they just went, no! We declare God, Sophia, a mystery that has been hidden and that God destined for our glory before time began. Now, a mystery is just something that hasn't been revealed yet, but the mystery was revealed. The mystery of God, of His plan for a crucified and raised Messiah. That was a mystery. But now in Jesus, it's been revealed. Destined for our glory before time began. It's a form of the word ion. Ages, before the ages. The glory before the ages. None of the rulers of this ion understand it. Notice this thing.